The first thing I'd like to say is, I was dreading the fact that for the next 1 hour or so, I'll have to pull my stomach in. I already told Luke the same, but let's give it a go. So, I'd like to begin ladies first, So, Shilpa, you spent 3 decades in the film industry, as I already mentioned. So, when you look back at the beginning of your acting career, what was the biggest challenge you faced as a newcomer? And how did that early experience shape who you are today? Did it play a role in your journey towards spirituality and fitness and sport?
Firstly, congratulations to the ICC on the centenary celebrations, and a very, very good evening to you all. I feel very happy to be able to be part of this congregation and celebration. So yes, Keshav, getting down to answering your question. What was the challenge that I faced? I was all of 17 when I joined the industry. I knew nothing or no one from the industry. That was the biggest challenge. I also didn't speak the language. But a firm believer in destiny. I think I was meant to, be an actor. Someone noticed me, and my first film was a huge hit. And with the success, I also faced a lot of rejection later in life. And I think when in your first film, when you find success, you think it's all going to be easy. But it's the rejection that actually makes you, if you're interested, that is, wants you to work hard. It makes you want to work hard. And I think that was the biggest challenge, to keep reinventing myself, to have to be relevant, and to keep learning. And I feel very proud that after 3 decades, I can still sit here and talk about my story and say very proudly that I did it my way. So, yeah.
That's fantastic. I think people see the success, the celebrity, the legend, but they don't, understand the failure, the struggles behind that. And that's such a beautiful story. Luke, before I get into the question, you said something which was very interesting. You said you should surrender. You should learn how to surrender. Can you tell us a bit more about what that means? Because that's such a powerful sentiment and so difficult to do. So how did you imbibe this?
So, the human mind is wired to try to be in control all the time. Right now, if everyone just does a mental exercise of what your biggest stressors in life are, most of you will figure out that your anxiety comes from either wanting to be in control of something or someone or some outcome, or you see something or someone as a threat. There are only 2 ways. There's no other way. When you break down stress, you look at things that you can control and you give your 500%. There are some things that you have to accept. Like, we can't change the weather right now. You have to accept. They've got some warmers on, we've got jackets. There's nothing else you can do. We can go on complaining. It just builds up stress. Some things we have to let go of for other things to work out. There are many things we have to let go of. And then you reach a point where you just have to surrender certain things. Because if you don't surrender it, your stress and anxiety grows more and more. We've realized handling especially end-of-life patients and patients who are going through cancer or that disease for any matter, for that matter. When they finally accept that, okay, I got type 2 diabetes, and they surrender to the fact that I need to change my lifestyle, I need to take my medicine. There's no more resistance. Everyone's stress is in resistance of something or someone. That is what stress is. Stress has never been a negative thing. Humans have made stress negative. So there comes a point that sometimes you can only do your best and surrender. And let me tell you, part of the medical world, when we work with a lot of surgeons in Stanford, we work with a doctor called Dr. James Doty. He's a neurosurgeon at Stanford who's done some of the most complicated surgeries on the brain across the world. He says one thing: with our knowledge and experience, we can open up the brain we can do the surgery. After that, the next 24 hours, we're in a state of surrender, hoping that what we've done and how the body recovers connects. You can't try to control any outcome. So surrender, I think, is a very, very beautiful thing. I want to also relate it with, if you've been to a wildlife sanctuary, the Masai Mara, if you've ever seen a kill happening, you've ever seen the eyes of the animal that's about to be killed, you see their eyes roll up and you see surrender in their eyes. They no longer fight, they become limp just before that. Surrender is a beautiful thing because that's what actually brings peace in our life. Right now, if you looked at 10 things stressing you out and if you just surrendered it, not the things that you should be doing something about, how much of peace would come into your life right away? So that is the beauty of surrender.
I was in Masai Mara earlier last year, and I can relate what you're saying. That point in life where you know if you can't change the outcome, at that point, be at peace. So, Shilpa, most men claim to be feminists, secretly chauvinists, but I'm sure they would agree that women have it more difficult. There's no other way. So, you're seen as a role model, you balance career, fitness, family, and you do it with such poise and such ease. So, you think that this narrative places additional pressure on women, such as yourself? You have to do it all and do it with a smile.
I think, especially Asian women, I speak for, and I take the carte blanche. I think the way we are brought up, our conditioning is such that from a very young age we're inculcated with the thought and value system of you can go out and work and you must. At least I came from that kind of background where my mom was a working woman, so I saw those work ethics as I grew. But she also handled the home, and she brought about that balance so seamlessly, and I'm sure it must be hard. And she also then helped my dad with his business. And she helped us with our schooling. She was part of all our, she was always there for us at school. So she dabbled with so many things. So I thought if she could do it with lesser help, I should also be able to do it. And I think that's the kind of mindset most women have in Asia. So, as far as doing it perfectly is concerned, there's no such thing as perfect. I think I can speak for myself. There are many times where me as an artist or a professional will do a better job than me as a mother at that given point. And then sometimes I'll end up going to set late if my child is sick, and that takes precedence. I'll make sure that the doctor is home and my child is looked after, and then maybe go to the set, and everybody understands. So it's that whole balancing act, but the job has to be done, and you have to do it to the best of your ability, and that's how I look at it. So I think the key is balance. And wherever you are at that given point, you have to do and be there in that moment. You have to do the job to the best of your ability in that moment. So that's how I approach it. So don't feel the pressure. This is to all the women out there. Don't feel the pressure, because if you're going to be under pressure, you will feel the pressure.
Brilliant. For a moment I thought Indra Nuri, she said something that's so beautiful and so simple.
We're all fallible, aren't we? We are going to make mistakes. We will maybe the next time around learn from those mistakes that we've made, and then, approach it differently. Surrender.
Luke, we have a lot of our, younger members here, the young leaders, and most of us feel that baad mein theek kar lenge, we'll fix it later. Can you please tell us why is it so important to start on a healthy lifestyle early? Most people keep delaying until, like you said, push comes to shove and you find out something that maybe is irreversible. So what are your thoughts on why people start late? How can we push the next generation to start living healthy earlier?
Again, so we talk about the human behavior. It's very common for us to procrastinate. That, I'll start later. I'll start when I have more money. I'll start when I have more time. And that never really comes. But we have to also understand from the body, from the time you're born, or from the time the baby is born, we already start dying. That's a biological feature. Our cells start to die the moment we're born. The way we're going today, that cholesterol hit the generation at about 45 to 50. Over the next 10 years, we're going to see cholesterol hit people at 18, 19, and 20 years old. That's very clear because you relate it to lifestyle. The generation today has way more access to junk and ultra-processed than the generations above. So it's all connecting in with our parameters. When we look at prevention, we look at the now. What can I do now for a better 5, 10, or 15 years? Unfortunately, we don't have the environment around us that helps us with that. It's difficult to find, like I said, honest food. It's difficult to find clean air. And even water has microplastics. The 3 main ingredients for human health, the foundations for human health. Everything else is secondary. So the whole point is, what are these little changes that we start to do? You may be young, you have aspirations, ambitions to do it. But can you do it while also maintaining your health? We can also learn mistakes from the generations ahead of us. Built beautiful industries, family legacies, empires. A lot of them lost their health. Can we change that story? Can we continue to build great businesses, but now we have the knowledge and awareness not to make the mistakes that the generation above really didn't have the knowledge and clarity on what to do. So it's really not about blame, it's really about learning. Every generation above, we learn from them. The generations below us will learn, and the ones below that will learn. So it comes down to, these are my ambitions in life. The one simple question, to make any of your dreams come true, any of your dreams, you will need your health. To make the dream come true and to enjoy the benefits of your dream. So the moment that goes into our head, we start to align these things. I don't think anyone should depend on motivation for health. Motivation is for people who have not yet decided they want to succeed. They're still in between. We need to move from motivation to inspiration. If I want to build this business, I want to open 10 factories. What do I need to do? I need to make myself bulletproof. If I have 5 trips to New York across time zones, I'll do it. How do I make myself bulletproof so I get stronger to handle everything else I want to take on in life? So I think it's really about a mindset change. Everything is a mindset change. How can I do this? So we all have a business strategy plan. What if you added health to that? Just think about it. What if you added health to your strategy plan? And like I said, it doesn't have to be an hour of workout. It could be 20 minutes. You put your personal time, you put your exercise time, you keep 15 to 20 minutes for 3 meals a day if you eat 3 meals. It's actually that simple, but it's become complicated because when people want to fix their health, we first go onto Instagram, and that's where the confusion starts, right? So it's a mindset change. That's what I would encourage people to do.
Beautiful. I think you're leading into my next question to Shilpa. So you're regarded as a champion for holistic living, right? I mean, success, boys, family, all with brilliant health. So how do you do it? And how do you distinguish between physical, mental, and spiritual wellness? What are the steps you take towards each of these?
I think they all have a role to play. When you talk about physical health, you're talking about strength and muscle building and mobility, agility. You're talking about mental health, you're talking about clarity, your state of mind. And mental health, for me, has to take precedence over physical health in this time and age. Because we're all living such fast-paced lives, and there's so much pressure that sometimes you could the exterior could look really strong, but you're actually breaking within. So that's the role mental health plays. And they always say that the mind is stronger than the body. So it's so important to train the mind. A lot of people are only giving importance to how the body is looking and how they are looking in terms of shape, and they forget training the mind. And then there's the spiritual aspect, which I think brings it all together. It's about faith, it's about believing in the universe, it's about having patience. And when you bring these three elements together, that brings a very important aspect in every human being's life to function at their optimal best. It's called alignment. Without these three pillars, you can't find balance. So all three are, equally important. And to believe that it's always happening for the best, even the worst, in any given situation. So this truly is the bedrock and philosophy of my life. And if you're sorted there, nothing can really shake your core. So that balance brings about awareness. Again, a very important aspect for wellness, overall wellness. So to live mindfully and with awareness is something that Luke and I totally swear by. I even take the carte blanche and speak for him because I know him so well. So yes, that's how we live our life. Sorry, I'm just taking the carte blanche because I can see him like shake his head. And that's what, whatever be the storm on the outside, I think Luke and I are the kind of people who are like, this too shall pass. It's okay. So we're in that moment, and that comes with alignment and balance.
So, one point that I think every person here appreciates, that without mental health, without that essence of spirituality, no matter how much you hit the gym, no matter how much weight you lose, it's not really going to give you happiness. And I think the sentiment, the way that it's been expressed, a lot to learn. Shilpa just spoke about fast-paced lives. Now with fast-paced lives, like every time most of us, we get inspired, we're going to eat healthy, we're going to have only salads and so on. We're going to make sure that, we don't have as much sugar. And then somehow our lives catch up with us and we forget the same, and you have that burger on your table or you have that pizza, right? So how do you suggest someone follows mindful eating? Because you're traveling, on flights, you're out, you're meeting people. How do you actually make that coexist?
So again, it starts in the mindset. You want to build successful businesses. Alright? You've given all your time, you've given your discipline, you've given your hard work, your sacrifice to it. Why? Because you gave it a certain level of importance. You made it a priority. Health is the same thing. We will have conversations like this every single year, on and on. Unless we understand that the only time we make our health and body a priority is the time that we'll get it done. Like I said, motivation will always fail. All of you have access to a ton of YouTube videos, Instagram Reels, now ChatGPT with it, the most inspirational stuff, but we're struggling to change behavior and put it into action. We fall off track. Give you a simple example. My office is at the Taj Bengal in Bandra, and I work out at the Taj Bengal in between. I keep a workout time at 12 o'clock in the afternoon because the gym's usually empty. I like that. I came back to Mumbai on the 4th, and I went to the gym at 12, and it was packed. I didn't like it. I asked the trainer, what's going on? He said, oh, till the 10th, sir. After the 10th, you will be free again. And I was like, I said, I want to have a bet with you. So we put 5 grand on each other, and he said, I'm winning the bet for sure. He said, it happens every year. I've been here for 9 years. So the point is, again, Do these people, they got motivated because it's 2026, New Year resolutions. Everyone's motivated to change, but they've not given it value in their mind. You buy yourself a yacht, a Rolls Royce, etc. You love it for a while because it's valuable to you. After a while, it becomes just another car in your garage, it loses its value, and it doesn't excite you anymore. So the whole point is, I want to add on to what Shilpa beautifully spoke about spiritual wellness. We work with about 3 or 4 spiritual leaders in our country. If I've worked with them, it's because they have a particular health problem. And the one conversation we always have is, they say, oh Luke, your spiritual